All right, officially done with week 10 of Big Super Total Forever program, which is a base program I've built to help me build my strength base for my super total. And I'll be running this pretty consistently, maybe with some tweaks here and there, until I decide to sign up for another weightlifting or powerlifting meet. And then I'll run a peaking block into one of those, but still some room for some adjustments there. Started it off with some front squats. It was a heavy squat day with the front squat in the rotation. And warm-ups felt pretty good. Each movement felt smooth, and I was just really focusing on opening up my upper body mobility in that front rack position. But I was able to build up to a pretty decent conservative triple of 315 pounds, which is right here, and then build up to a double at 320 pounds, which, again, taking a look at what I had done the last few weeks, this was a nice way to make sure I beat what I did a few weeks ago. I think the 335 as a single, and I was able to do that. Felt pretty good overall, liked my position, and again, just building a conservative base with the squatting. Want to make sure that as I push things like my cleans, snatches, that the squats are actually carrying over to that, and I'm able to do that without adding too much fatigue or wear and tear. So felt pretty decent overall. Then we moved on to some snatches, and truthfully, snatches didn't go super phenomenal today. I started off with my snatch primers, where I do some snatch pulls, some muscle snatches, and some no foot hang snatches. And those actually went pretty decent. In fact, I was able to work up to 205 with the full sequence. And last week was the first time I'd really hit 205 in the muscle snatch range. So that was pretty solid. And then this time I was able to do it with my primers. But after I finished my primers, we got into regular snatches, and it didn't go quite as smoothly as I had hoped. It was every minute on the minute snatches, which is supposed to be a pretty low intensity so that I can focus on speed and position. But it actually felt kind of decent, so I decided to make some boulder jumps and go up to 235 pounds and beyond, and missed it. So then came back down and then went after that again and missed that again. So after a couple of misses there in between, I just decided to call it with those for the day so that I could actually put some energy into my clean work afterwards. So moved on to some tall cleans, and I really like these tall cleans and mixed with my pause split jerks because they really help me open up my upper body mobility more than anything. I get that front rack position loosened up and that external rotation in the shoulders. So really like how my cleans have felt after doing them. And just slowly chipping away here. Again, this is just the second week of adding in these variations. So got a triple here at 135, as you'll see. And then we moved into 155 pounds where I got a double there. And then just a decent single at 175. Tall cleans with heavyweight messes with your mind a little bit because you have no leg power that you're using to propel the bar upward. It's just yanking yourself underneath. So it's kind of like box jumps, if you've ever done high box jumps, where you're kind of getting in your head of like, all right, time to initiate speed, essentially. And then the pause split jerk, super smooth. I like these. These just really help me focus on that catch position of the jerk and feel really stable there. So those went really well. And then after hitting that single at 175, we moved into some hang clean and jerks. And while I have these set as every minute on the minute, I think I'm just realizing that I'm not going to be doing cleans at every minute on the minute for now. It's just too much of a hassle to get things moving that quickly and then try to focus on the actual clean and jerk. But what I am doing is keeping these at a low to moderate intensity and focusing on a fast pace. So just not spending very much time in the rest period. And my main goal with these hang cleans is really to get that upward trajectory of the bar and not use my hips to throw the bar forward, so that I can again get more vertical trajectory and pull myself underneath quickly. Use my quads to do that more than my hips. And these went okay. I was happy with it. Last week I'd done 245 pounds. This week I got to 255, and I'm gonna be going really conservative with these because of how much I want them to transfer over technique wise. If I get too heavy with this, I can lift more, but I'll end up just using my hips and I'll end up jumping forward and basically not getting what I want from it. So, and then we moved on to day number 2. Day 2 here, we started off with some competition bench. So that was my last warm up of 315 for 6, and then bumped up to this 375 for 3, which was gonna be a block triple personal best. And that went pretty smooth, which went smooth for it feeling kind of heavy. Like that jump from 315 to 375 when not super warmed up is a bit of a jump. But then from there went to this 405 and it moved well. This is a non-peaked 405. So with all the variation that I'm running in right now and the fact that I can hit that pretty smoothly, it's pretty happy with it. Then moved on to this 380 for a double, and it went smooth enough that I made a bold decision to hit this triple here. And I think this matches my best 3 rep max of all time on bench. So the fact that I'm matching it right now, 10 weeks into a base building, is pretty solid. Happy with that for sure. Then we moved on to some banded deadlifts here, where we're doing triples every minute on the minute. And started off light, 245, and then bumped up to 335, and then 385 here, which pretty happy with, especially considering for 3 reps, this matches what I was doing for doubles the week before, and of course beats what I was doing for triples by 30 pounds from 2 weeks prior to that. And I was able to do a little bit of hook grip here so that I can just keep my hook grip getting stronger and stronger. And I want to make sure that my hook grip is able to comfortably hold 400 pounds plus pretty consistently, because that's what I want to be able to snatch and clean and jerk. Not snatch 400 pounds, but comfortably be able to hold that with my hook grip. And I would like to clean and jerk 400 pounds. So being able to hold that with my hook grip pretty comfortably is, I want that to just be not even a second thought. And then we'll see when we start to get into really heavy deadlifts, what kind of grip I want to use. But deadlifts went smooth overall. And then day 3 was a short one. I didn't have much time, and so I had to reallocate some stuff. All I did today was the barbell Spoto bench press, and did these at home, and these went pretty decent. So I made the jump to 335 pounds for my beating my 6 rep personal best in this training block. And it felt kind of heavy, but I was able to chip away at an extra rep there with that weight, so I was pretty happy with it. But decided to go for 350. And the range here is 5 to 8 reps, so I really wanted to get 5, and I was able to hit that, which was pretty solid. So then I followed that up with just taking a look at what I had done, and I literally added a 1 pound weight to each side so that I can try to beat that 6 rep personal best again by 2 pounds. And so it was kind of cool. I was able to add a rep to the 335 for 6, but then I was able to add 2 more pounds to it for 6 as well. And then I finished up here with this ugly 317 pounds. I threw a 25 on there, making it 315, and then said, hey, what's heavier than 315? 317. And I really encourage people to use some micro loading every once in a while, because it's a great way to just chip away at adding more workload. And you do that consistently, and 8 to 12 weeks later, and you're hitting some big numbers. So those little weights add up quite a bit over time. But that was the end of the day. Then the following day, actually was a rest day, but then it's Max Out Friday, baby. So we came in, started off with some snatch variations for my primers, and these are going pretty well overall. Actually, I knew going into this day, even after a rest day, I just felt some accumulated fatigue. This was early in the morning and I didn't want to do the session, but decided to start warming up and see how it goes. And it was one of my best training sessions I've done. So primers went really well. I was really focused on high elbows, but was actually able to build up to a 210 pound for my muscle snatch complex and everything. The fact that I was able to get it and it didn't look too ugly was kind of cool. I will say that this 210 pounds, the high pull is great, but while I got the muscle snatch, what you can see here is my elbows drop. So what I'm getting is better at the skill of that, but what's really important is that this transfers over to my snatch. And if my elbows are dropping, it's not going to transfer over as well. So I'm going to rebuild into that 195, 205 range and really focus on high elbows. From there, it was 5 sets, really prioritizing doubles. And this started going the same trajectory as my snatch sessions earlier in the week. I hit my 220 for 2, and that went well. And when I went up to 330, just kind of got out of my position here and hit this first single, but then the second one was just ugly and ended up not really getting it, so got lost balance. So I went back down to 250 and crushed him, and it went super easily. And then I did a 10-pound jump back up to 225 here, and was just working my way back up, and this went pretty decently. So sometimes I like to do that, especially with snatches, is like if I made some jumps that were a bit too big, you just go back down and start building right back up. And it went really well to a point where I said, you know what, screw it. We're going for a new PR today. So I did a 20-pound jump from that 225, hit this 245 for a single, which went okay, but the second one kind of went even smoother. I even bumped my knee with the bar a little bit, so it got a little bit out of position, but I was able to pull myself under really well. And that's another 2-rep max personal best. So snatches have been going pretty decent, even though technique has felt kind of moderate. It hasn't felt like it's super crisp. The strength has been really good, which at the end of the day, I'll keep improving my technique, but I think my technique is decent enough to where I just need to keep getting stronger too, and that's key. And I'll continue to work on improving my technique with some lower percentage work. But from there, moved on to some clean and jerks and started off with just a hang clean and jerk with a pause split jerk in there. And these felt pretty decent, focusing on that vertical trajectory with the bar, focusing on using my quads, making sure I'm not jumping forward, and really opening up my front rack position for heavier and heavier cleans. And I was able to get up to 265 for this little primer, which is pretty decent. Then we made the jump to 295, which was pretty solid overall. This clean and jerk went as smoothly as you can ask for. The jerk could have been a little more stable, but not bad for 295 pounds. Then we went up to 315, and this is a solid 315. I'd like to get this to becoming a pretty easy one, but this was better than the 295. So I made the decision to go up to 330 here, and this happens. I haven't really been shot out of a clean in quite a while, so that was a bit of an experience, but can't be mad at it too much overall. It's only the second week of really prioritizing clean and jerks again and actually doing them consistently after snatches. So 330 was a bit of a bold jump in the first place. But from there, moved on to some low bar squats, and this is my medium squat day of the week. And warm-ups felt pretty solid overall. This was a smooth 335 for 6 here. And then we bumped up to 385 to be able to beat what my block personal best has been so far, which I think was at the 365, 55 range. So this smoothly beat that, and really like to prioritize with this base building is the 6s and the 5s and a little bit of the 4s. The 3s are cool, but those are more of my intensity work, and I really want to just build that muscle mass and base, and that's mostly going to come from those 6s and 5s. So this was 425 for a very smooth set of 4, and really happy with just how this movement felt overall on my back in terms of getting into the right position with the bar, and just felt strong, felt really smooth on my lower body, quads, glutes, everything. Bumped up to this 460 for 3 here, and it moved well, but I do think it was a little heavier than, for example, my last triple. So I was able to beat it, but at a slightly higher RPE. but I beat it by quite a bit. I think the last triple was like 440, so 20 pounds up and pretty smooth overall. So happy with that. Finished with a few accessories and called it a day. And then next day, same thing. This was this morning. Woke up feeling kind of tired and saying, all right, let's see how it goes. The goal was go into it with a bit of a conservative approach. But as things kept warming up, the strength was there. So what I was doing here is, this was my 374 for 6, which is just kind of a build up set. But I did the first 5 with the straps and then the last rep with my hook grip. Again, that way I can get my hook grip used to lifting heavier loads. It went pretty decent overall. So from there, I went up to beat my very conservative 6 rep best of this training block, which I think was 440 pounds, or maybe even 441. And this was 444. So it was like 3 or 4 pound chip away at that last best set of 6. And that went well. Finished it with a hook grip single here, a new 5 rep best of the training block, and that was this 494 here, and went pretty smooth. I actually originally was just going to try to do it for 4 reps, but then I did the 4th rep and said, gosh, that wasn't too bad. So I went and decided to hit that 5th rep for a new 5 rep block personal best. So bumped up to 514 pounds here, and knew I needed to get it for 4 because that's what my rep range is, 4 to 6 reps. So I went for 4, and honestly, after I hit that 4th rep, I felt like I could have done a little bit more, but I wanted to be a little bit more conservative because this was a pretty big chunk over my previous set of 4, which was only 484 pounds. Afterwards, I went and headed into the gym and started off with some banded bench press. I was just doing doubles today, so I wanted to beat what I had done for double previously, which was 310 for most of those sets here, and was able to get up there, and it actually probably felt the best it's felt. When I hit those triples, I ended up hitting that wall pretty early on, which is kind of funny. It's just 1 rep different, but when only a minute in between, it really makes a difference. So these doubles just feel a lot easier than triples. So 315, got there pretty early on. In fact, I did 2 more sets than I normally do. Normally I do 6 sets after I do my 2 warm-up sets, but this time I did 8 sets after the 2 warm-up sets that you see here. And so this was not only beating what I had done with 5 extra pounds per most of the sets, even did finish here with 320 pounds for 2, but I was able to get 2 additional working sets there. So really solid on this overall, and this is just continuing to build momentum with my bench press. And I'm excited about the trajectory of bench press right now. My goal really is to keep building a base until I'm repping out 405 on competition bench. So after the banded bench press here, we moved on to some light high bar squats, and I was supposed to stay at around that 65% of my best high bar squat. I felt kind of decent after the 335, and I just wanted to go for something fun here. So I hit this double here at 385. Afterwards, I then did another set at 355. So a little heavier than I wanted to, but still speed was pretty decent and weight moved well overall. So happy with this week. Getting PRs on snatches, bench press, not hitting real big actual lifetime personal bests on my squats or deadlifts quite yet, but I'm doing them they're all beltless, no knee sleeves, anything like that. So right now I'm really just focusing on that base building. And once I get into some specific territories, that's when I really know where I'm at. So when the front squats start to get into the 400 plus range, but with no knee sleeves or anything, no belt, when the high bar squat is getting into the 500 range with no knee sleeves, no belt, and when the low bar squat is getting to the mid 5s, and when in deadlifts, both sumo or conventional, when we're starting to rep out mid 5s beltless, we're in a good place for a new PR. And then same thing with sumo deadlifts, when those are probably in the mid to late 500s, maybe close to 600. If I can start hitting 600 for sets of 4 without a belt, we know we're in for some big competition PRs. So stay tuned as we keep building this base, keep building that super total. See you guys next week.